So we're going to go back into childhood. So come back with me to 4th grade. I'm in a Catholic school. It's called St. Mary's School. I'm wearing a uniform to school. I am pretty much the only child who has 2 immigrant parents. Everybody is 4th, 5th generation, Irish or Italian. My mother's from Ecuador, my father is from Poland. So I already feel different in that sense. 4th grade's a really cool time. You're learning about really cool things in history. You're learning about all different sorts of things that involve days that you can celebrate these things. There are 2 major days that everybody looked forward to in 4th grade, and that was Pilgrim Day, when you came in dressed as a pilgrim, full out pilgrim gear, whatever that might be, and then we learned about all of that, the Mayflower and so on and so forth. And the other day, which is a little bit more controversial, was Slave Day.
Ooh.
Right, so we come in on Slave Day, and the teacher tells you nothing in advance, which makes sense. And I guess this is how white people need to teach slavery to white children. And you come in, and the teacher says whatever she chooses. She chooses a physical characteristic, and if you have that physical characteristic, then you're either the slave or you're the master. They chose eye color. Everybody with brown eyes, you guys are the masters. Everybody with blue eyes, you guys are the slaves. I have green eyes. So I'm standing there and I'm like, Mrs. Harris, I have green eyes. What am I? Question my whole life, what am I? And so she says, well, you get to pick. So I pick slave. And I don't really know what I'm in for here, right? It's 4th grade, it can't be that crazy. Like I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on here. And the teacher just totally transforms her entire personality. Now all of a sudden she is like, she's selling us in the front of the classroom, and she's pulling kids up. She's grabbing us. This is so not allowed. Now as I'm retelling it, I'm thinking like, wow, I can't believe this actually happened in school. It's probably not the happiest story to tell, but she's grabbing us, and she's just kind of saying like, all right, this is what this person has. Oh, this one knows how to read. This is that. And she grabs me by my face, and she says, this one's got a great set of teeth here. And I'm thinking, wow, okay. And the person that ends up buying me is my biggest crush, who had never spoken to me ever. And I've had a crush on this kid since probably 1st grade, when I realized that men existed. And so now this is quite the predicament, because I'm horrified at what's happening, but I love Chris Messa. So it's, so I'm kind of excited. So
much for the lesson.
yeah, so much for the lesson. So, it turns. So, Chris buys me, right? And then essentially your slave has to sit next to you while you are, in class and doing things throughout. And if you need them to go get you water or something like that, you have them do that. So little things like that doesn't get crazy. Then we get to recess, and then she says, everybody who's a slave, you guys got to sit here and you guys got to do these 14 pages in your math workbook. And the rest of you can go out and have recess. So now I'm starting to get really heated here, right? Because I thought at least having Chris Messa, whom I loved, as my owner, I would be somewhat enjoying this. But now I'm like, this is just wrong, people. And the fact that you are all just sitting here and just doing this fucking math homework, and we are in a school, and this isn't even the right way to teach this, and I'm getting really, really hot and bothered. And I'm trying to rile up everybody else, and everyone's just like, we gotta do our math homework, man. Like, did you see our teacher? She went fucking wild. And I'm like, I don't give a shit, guys. We don't have to do this fucking math homework. I mean, I wasn't cursing because I didn't know how to curse then, but I was getting really pissed off at this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. Whoever's with me is with me. Nobody was with me. Everybody did their math homework. And so after this, I'm pretty angry, pretty much don't know how I feel about Chris anymore at this point, or my teacher for that fact. And then it gets to snack time. My parents have never packed my lunch ever. This is the one day that my dad, I guess, had some extra Oreo cookies and was like, here, why don't we put this in a bag and she'll have these. And I was so excited because I loved Oreo cookies. And of course, the one day that my parents packed me this is the one day that I choose to be a slave and must give my Oreo cookies to my crush, Chris Messa. And he just, as he's eating them, I'm just like watching him crunch on this, and just the hatred, and like the anger. And he could tell, and he's like, yo, this is just what's happening. You can't be mad at me for this. And I'm like, oh, I can be mad at you. I said, you were the master. Nobody told you to be an asshole. You don't have to eat you don't have to do what she's saying. We don't have to do anything that she's saying. So at the end of the day, I'm clearly upset. And her big surprise was the math homework that we were supposed to be doing during recess that I chose not to do was actually our homework. So in the end, all of the masters had to still do that, and I had to still do it anyway. But I went home, told that story, and my parents were pretty much horrified, couldn't really do anything. And I actually recently told that story at Fine Arts Work Center, and everyone was equally horrified, and I realized, wow, this is a pretty horrific story, and for some reason I wanted to share that tonight. So thank you so much for listening to that.